What's good? It's your boy Fannon. Welcome to the channel this morning. I'm going to talk about two things, man, but I want to talk about something, man, that came up on Trail Boxing Talk, man. After I say what's good to everybody, but I'm going to have a little bit more of a solemn tone because this is something I'm going to discuss I usually don't do too much of, and it's this whole reform issue that got brought up on Trail Boxing Talk. So I'm going to talk about that, man, just a little bit. That's one of the things that when I was in school in the 90s, I was in school. I was actually in law school in the 90s, mid 90s, and that was during the time where a lot of the prison reform, like the omnibus crime bill and all that stuff, was passed. So I was pretty familiar with it as it was going on, and I was, there was a lot of really big questions about it. And now we're moving into a situation where you have this new reform effort where they're trying to reform and solve a lot of the problems that happen as a result of mass incarceration. So when 78 said he was going to look up something about the subject and just kind of see what was going on, I don't pay a lot of attention to issues, but I do pay attention to that because I think that it is it's a situation, man, where our political leaders really let communities down. And there's a lot of conversation going on about that as far as what what that means. And there's these new terms that are coming out, like e-carceration instead of incarceration, e-carceration. And also like the mechanisms by which, we're moving from cash bails to having a new system where they use these mathematical algorithms to determine who gets bail. And, my thing about it is I'll talk about that, but I want to say what's up to everybody before that, man. But, in short, it seems to me to be a situation where, and this is a phrase that was used by Michelle Alexander, who I have a lot of respect for, who wrote the book, The New Jim Crow, where she was talking about, moving from slavery to the Jim Crow system and comparing moving from mass incarceration to to e-carceration as being similar to moving from slavery to the Jim Crow system. So, it's just, man, I think that's something that people really need to keep their eye on very much, man, because, there's going to be a lot of improvements from the direction that they're going as far as having less people actually incarcerated, right? But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a lot of social, like racial and economic, like the poor economic issues. And because until you fix the intent of the people that lay down, the standards, and enforce them, you're still going to find yourself being in a similar situation, though it might not be as stark and as obvious. But, anyway, man, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. But before I do that, what's going on, J Bird 904, man? TTUK, what's going on, man? Almighty Law 703. T said, I just been watching David Hayes say Muhammad Ali was a lineal champion. Is this correct? Of course he was. You got to understand, man, there wasn't all these fucking belts until the 1970s. Absolutely, Muhammad Ali was a lineal champ. And these cats trying to get rid of the lineal championship, they can just kick rocks, man. I heard what Steve Farhood said. Steve Farhood, man. What's going on, man? Let's go. Slip the jab. Salute. Let me go. Sonata Media. What's going on? Equality. Yep. See, equality is a funny word, man. Equality is a funny word, man. Justice is more important than equality because not everybody's equal. It's what is just, right? Not what is equal. Because there are scenarios where you have somebody that's blind and you have somebody with sight, and you say, well, the guy with sight can walk through these streets. They can go up, they can go up these staircases. All this stuff works for 95% of the people. So we're just giving the blind person equal treatment. He got to figure out how he's going to get around this stuff the same way as somebody who has the ability to see. It's not for me, it's not about equality. It's about justice and making sure that the person that needs the most constructive help gets the most constructive help. And that way you're working towards a scenario where everybody can live together in a community, right? I'm not so just about equality, because you could just say, okay, we're going to treat everybody equally. Well, anybody that's already has an advantage in the status quo is going to continue to have that advantage in the status quo if you just treat everybody the same. You know what I mean? And I know that might sound like I'm parsing words a little bit. And I guess anyway, I hope that doesn't come out. What's good, Ascension? Sugar Fantastic said, okay. What's good? What's going on, Hulk Bradley's? Fannon, what's good? Been following you for a year and a half. Love the channel. If you need more riches, I'm always available to help. Pound LDBC. Hey, thanks, man. Absolutely, Hulk Bradley. You have been wrenched up, my man. And much love in the super chat, man. Real boxing. Trash, garbage, trash, garbage. Yeah, you didn't last long. Sugar Fantastic. Hey, by the way, man, I got all the way down to the end of the chats, man. I apologize if I didn't get to say what's up to everybody, man, but that shit just really kind of hit me on the head. So hey, and Sugar Fantastic in the building too, man. Much love in the super chat. Appreciate you, man. Really, really appreciate you, man. And Real Boxing, shut the fuck up. Don't nobody care what you think, man. Just go away. They all have different fights we all have different fights in us. Absolutely, man. Nah, Real Boxing, just throw him out, dude. Not yet. Damn. All right, dog. I gotta get it done. Much love, and I got that. Appreciate that, man. Jim White said, welcome to Jim Crow 2.0. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Hey, Steven Rodriguez, I'm a huge fan of Teofimo Lopez. That dude can go. Oh, absolutely, man. That's look, man. With you look at the bail, right? Now I've worked in IT, working on IT deals for a long time, man. I used to actually consult. Moderate programmer, like sucked at it, but I played around it enough. But like my father worked for IBM when I was growing up. My brother was a programmer. My sister was a programmer. I worked in a company where I was negotiating with deals with cats that worked in application development, right? So in studying that, I got a fair understanding of how IT works. And trust me, man, algorithms are just all they are is you write a rule and you surround them in mathematics, right? So it's the programmer's bias, right? It's just a set of instructions, right? And you're going to make predictions. So when they say, okay, who's going to get bail, who's not going to get bail, we're going to make this totally neutral by making sure that it's just a computer algorithm that does it. But who's going to write that algorithm? Who's the one that's going to write those rules? Who's going to decide what's more important and what's not more important? And when you have to actually go in and say, okay, how do we know that this is not influenced by the amount of money somebody's making or the area that they come from? How are we going to look at the determining factors? If you have that in a private corporation and their algorithm is proprietary, you're going to have to go through all kind of shit just to know why they made the decisions that they made. So a judge will then have to run this algorithm and say, okay, according to this algorithm, you're a higher risk than he is. Well, why am I a higher risk than he is? Oh, we don't know. The algorithm says it, and hey, man, it's neutral. It's blind. It's just some numbers, but that's just not how it works, man. That's like they say, what is the book, Mathematics of Mass Destruction or something like that? It's like this quant. I think she's a quant. Was she a quant? But what if she's a mathematician, right? And she was just like mathematics of mass destruction. You can't act as if just because somebody wrote a formula, right, and applied it to a computer application, right, the rule making engine of it, that means that it's just blind. It's not. It's affected by what the standards and the biases or the opinions of the person that writes the algorithm. So they can say, well, who would be most likely to flee? Okay, well, what neighborhood has the most criminals that have fled? Well, of course, that's going to be in a poor neighborhood, right? Because in wealthy neighborhoods, they're not fleeing. Okay, they're paying their bills. They're going to hire their lawyer. They're sitting in there, right? So how do you know that when you look at that just look at those raw numbers, that you're not wind up by having that head weighed more heavily against somebody from a low income area, right? So since my son's zip code is in Beverly Hills, right? Then they'll say, "Whoa, he's from Beverly. This is where he lives. This is how old he is. This is what race he is. And all these factors say that he's a lower risk than somebody that lives on the border. Oh, they're close to it's a Hispanic guy that lives on the border in Mexico, and he's 16 years old. Oh, that's a higher flight risk. We're not going to give him bail, but we'll give the other guy bail." But it's still determined by things that you're trying to avoid. You know what I mean? And then there's the whole question about, the incarceration and whether, like, you're having this like when you let somebody out and now there's under surveillance 24 hours a day, right? So how do you know, like, where they'll be able to live? You might have a scenario where people aren't going to, they might have a problem being able to get a job outside of the area, outside of the area that they're allowed to travel in, because they're not saying that they're just going to, wipe away people's records and just do away with their sentencing. What they're saying is, instead of having them actually incarcerated, they're going to have them in their home, and they're going to restrict how far they can move away from their home, where they can go, who they can deal with, right? Rules inside your home, like, can you have alcohol in the home, right? If there's anybody in the house that is, all kind of stuff like that is going to come into play. So it's similar to, that's why they're making this comparison between somebody being the chattel property of somebody versus them being in a sharecropper system, right? Where they basically have the same function, except for somebody doesn't hold paper title to them. So it's just, it's a long road to fix the problems. It's a long road to fix the problem, man. And you just gotta make sure that you're looking at that and understanding that when you giving support to people that are pushing stuff to you. Gravy Davy in the building, man. Thank you. Much love, man. In the super chat. He said, there's just a little something for the kids you help. Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. Snacks B in this mug. Thanks, man. Thanks, Snacks B. Much love in the super chat, man. Oh, this is an anti-gang law. Well, it's not. It's more than just a law, dude, because it's a movement it's like the legal. It is a changing and a reform of the criminal justice system. Legalizing marijuana is part of it, right? Getting rid of cash bails, I think California got rid of cash bails, which is you got to pay money so that you don't have to go into jail, so you don't have to be incarcerated until your trial, where somebody with more money who can pay that bail doesn't have to worry about it. And they don't really have, it's like you're punishing somebody because they don't have money, right? And that's clearly prejudicing somebody from poor communities over people that are wealthy or who have the means by which to get out. Similar to what's going on with if you look at what happened in Ferguson, right? When they did that review of the criminal justice system and specifically the parking and ticket systems in Ferguson, right? Where you have people that wind up being detained and arrested because they didn't have enough money to pay $100 worth of parking tickets, and they kept adding fines and fines and fines to it. So what wind up happening is they wind up getting taken off the street and put in jail. And if I say jail and prison, I mix that up. I know there's a difference between jail and prison, but they wind up getting put in jail, but you're still incarcerated, right? But if somebody like me, if I get a $200 ticket, I'm gonna just pay the $200 because I got the $200 to pay, right? But somebody who's not in the same financial situation as me might have a lot of difficulty doing that. You know what I mean? So That's the overall. Junior the Truth, what's good, man? Much love in the super chat. Salute, bro. What's understood needs no explanation. Honor up, pound LDBC. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But see, that's why I wanted to say, man. Like, I mean, and I appreciate that, man, because that means I can take this shit down. Why not? Algorithms can say a person with crack cocaine gets 50,000 bail, while a person with cocaine gets 45,000 bail. Fannon got paper. I mean, dude, I'm not broke. I'm fortunate. I can, if I get a $200 ticket, I don't have to stress about how I'm going to pay a $200 ticket. My bigger problem if I get a $200 ticket is, okay, how's this going to affect my car insurance? Something like that. You know what I mean? That's not. But if somebody else gets somebody gets a $200 ticket that, like if my son, even you take it this way, if my son got a $200 ticket, he's going to be like, Dad, will you pay the ticket? And I'll be like, shit, stop driving fast. And we won't even talk about it. Right. But you're not going to get he's not going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 fees on top of him. You know what I mean? And wind up being in that situation. And that is that's purely a function of family income. You know what I mean? Purely a function of family income. It's not whether or not he deserves to be, whether he's more of a danger to society than the kid that didn't have the money to do it. You know what I mean? To pay it. He might be more of a problem to society, but you're basing it off the money. So those algorithms, but see, then when you'll say, we'll just look at the area that he lives in, right? We'll just look at the area that he lives in. Well, that's the same thing, because now you're not judging that particular kid, you're judging the neighborhood he's from, and averages based on the neighborhood that they're from. But I'm just, now don't get me wrong, I'm not against any type of the modification of a system that's bad. I'm not against that at all, right? I'm saying good, let's move it forward, right? It is better, right? It is better to have people outside of a prison, inside or outside of a jail, inside either one that they happen to be in, right? Or inside of their homes with their children, right? That's a better situation. For that person, that's a better situation, right? So if somebody's in that situation, they're like, man, okay, we're going to move you into this situation. We're going to put this monitoring device on you, and we're going to go that way. To them, man, that's an improved situation. But that's not the same thing as where are we going to go with that, right? Where do you go from? Okay, we went from here because we were in a better situation before, right? Where there was less incarceration. Then we went to massive incarceration. Where are we going to go from after we go from massive incarceration to e-carceration, right? Where is e-carceration going to lead us? In e-carceration, by the way, when I'm saying e-carceration, I mean electronic surveillance of people who would have otherwise been physically incarcerated. So now you've got something on your ankle, right? How likely is that you're going to wind up going back into the prison, because everything that you do is now monitored. And because it's monitored, you might not be able to live your life in a way which would prevent you from creating another crime. And that's another thing, actually reforming the crimes and reforming the punishments. It is just such an incredibly tangled ball of bullshit. You know what I mean? So, that's my take on it, man. Yeah, the ankle bracelet. Yeah, the ankle bracelet is going to prevent you from going places, doing things. You might not be able to leave your neighborhood. If you can't leave your neighborhood, right? Because you got to understand there's going to be a lot more people that are being supervised, because the same people that are going to benefit off this, right? The number of the people benefiting off mass incarceration are going to be the same people benefiting off e-carceration. It's going to be the same people. It's going to be, because instead of them building physical institutions, they're just going to take that same money and invest it in technological surveillance, right? And now they have a lot less overhead because they don't have to hire as many people. their buildings. You know, they don't have to maintain the buildings. They don't have to do that. They can invest less money, right? But because it's the distance between what you spend and what you bring in, which is your profit. And if they're publicly traded, and you got more and more people, right? That means that just becomes that much more lucrative for the same, for the same people. So there's just, like I said, there's just a lot. There's still a lot of really big warning signs. There's a lot of issues that are still out there about it that need to be considered. And I don't think people should walk out the door like there's a big ass rainbow over there, like cats have made it. Because I don't think that's true at all, Champ, Muhammad Ali said the champ is here. What's good, man? So that's what that's what I wanted to talk about with that, man. So whenever I get a ticket, I always hire a lawyer. That's a smart move, man. That's a smart move. So all true. I live about 4. Oh, you live about 4 miles from Ferguson? Yeah, man. That's how they were doing it. And that's why a lot of people wound up getting arrested. They weren't arrested off of, them doing something where they deserve to be incarcerated. It was because they didn't have because you're giving tickets to a bunch of unemployed, to a bunch of people that don't have jobs and don't have the money to pay them. And they knew it. If you give that guy $100, if I tell my son, if I gave a ticket to my son for $100, I know damn well he ain't got the ability to pay that. And then I'm gonna say, well, you got 10 days to pay this. If you don't, we're gonna put a fine on it. And if you don't pay that fine within 15 days after that, we're gonna put a warrant on you. And then we're gonna put the warrant on you. Then we're gonna arrest you and we're gonna put you in there until you have the ability to pay for it. But if you put them in there, they don't have a job. So where are they going to get the money to pay for it? But in the meantime, state funds are being transferred into your system to house that person. So really the way budgets work, right? State budgets work or private budget works. You say, look, I got all these people in here. I need more money. I need for you to allocate more money to pay for the guards that are watching, right? For the policemen that arrested them, right? For all of the other people, you got the food, the nasty ass bologna sandwiches, rotten ass bologna sandwiches on white bread that you're giving them. You got to buy those, right? So that just generates more money there. So what happens was the poor citizens of Ferguson wind up being an economic boon for the people that were giving out the tickets and sentencing them. And they knew that they didn't have the money to pay for it. They knew they didn't have the money for the fines, but their own intention was to put you there. That was the whole intention, because they weren't really looking for the money off your fines. They're looking for the state allocated funds to pay for your incarceration. It's just, when you start doing that, I'm telling you, man, and that transitions right into what that Eddie Hearn stuff was about. Because I get on Eddie Hearn. The biggest problem, and just to compare the two, tell you how versatile I am with my intellect. Bullshitting with you. This whole thing with Eddie Hearn, with Dillian White going to Showtime, tells you that Eddie Hearn didn't have control over that budget. All that smack talking y'all were talking about with Eddie Hearn, and how Eddie Hearn got that $1 billion and all that. I told you. First of all, it's 2 years. And second of all, it's a budget. It ain't like they just gave him a stack of money and put it in his bank account and now he gets suspended. How in the world did Dillian White versus Derek Chisora wind up on Showtime? If Dazn said, I want to air it. They just said, no, we're not going to pay for that. No, they're going to pay for it. No, we don't want that. Okay, because look, man, just like Fred from Barbershop Conversation said, when he called Dazn and asked if they were going to be paying for people to fly out to their fight, right, to cover the fight, they said no, that shit was a failure. So why wouldn't they take the Dillian White versus Derek? Why wouldn't they take the Dillian White versus Derek Chisora fight? Why wouldn't they outbid Showtime? Because they think it's a failure. And they're like, no, man, this is not going to get us any. They invested their money in Canelo. And the people that are UK fans of Eddie Hearn and all that, don't think that when they gave Canelo Alvarez $365 million, That's a whole different pot of money than the money that they said was associated with that billion. Some of that quote unquote $1 billion just went to Canelo. They reallocated funds. There's a difference between reallocating funds and opening up a new increasing the funds that are available, right? Good morning, Fannon. Great content. I'm glad you're breaking it down. Hey, thanks, Native faculty, Black faculty, in the building. Gotta say what's up to my dude. So yeah, man, let me go. Fannon, the prison industrial complex. Yeah, man, it is what it is. Asim Khan say blessings and love to you. Blessings and love to you as well, man. But look, man, people talk about this stuff as if, you know, the rules of logic and just, they say, oh, the business of boxing, the business of boxing. Here's business. Okay, you have a budget. A budget is money that's allocated to you. Okay, allocated to you, not handed to you, allocated to you. And they're going to watch, and they're going to have your allocation is against certain benchmarks that you're making. They're not going to sell Eddie Hearn. Look, man, Eddie, you just have $1 billion to do whatever you want to do, and we'll check in after 8 years and see whether you made your marks or not. No, what they're going to do is they're going to have, if they're smart, and I have a hard time believing that the cats from Dazn aren't very, very smart, right? They might be they're technology guys, so they know the application. They know the application business, right? They also know that they're investing for this 5G network shit, which is, what is it, 5G? Somebody can hook me up with this 5G, where you have even greater increased bandwidth. And right now, the technology is not there. That's why you're getting all this dang buffering, right? But anyway, and then you got to worry about net neutrality issues. I don't know where you are with where the U.S. is with that, where you got people actually getting their stuff throttled. All kind of complicated issues. But one thing that they know for sure is that if they have an event, they're going to have certain metrics associated with that event. And either you're going to make them or you're not going to make them. And if you don't make them, they're going to look at the next one even closer. And they'll say, okay, didn't make it again. They didn't make it again. Where is this trending? Right? But then you bring in Canelo and they can say, okay, now look, we need something to happen here because this is trending downward. So what do they do? They guaranteed 300 million. They allocated, I don't even know if it's guaranteed, allocated 365 million of whatever money they already had dedicated to boxing and putting on licensing fees, however they got that in there. They now committed that to Canelo. But people who are fans of Eddie Hearn think that this is just some, instead of having $1 billion that they allocated or planned to have associated with boxing, that they have $1,365 million now. No, they probably still have the same billion, but now 700,000 of it, roughly 640 million of it or whatever is allocated to the Matchroom, and 365 is allocated just to Canelo. And then of the Matchroom, certain portion of that is going to be allocated towards Canelo's competitors, who are to pay the people that Canelo is feeding. That's why they're not taking Dillian White versus Derek Chisora. And that's not boxing business. That's just straight business. Same way as when we talk about the that whole system about with Ferguson and why would you give tickets to people that you were at a price you know is prohibitive, which means you know they can't pay. These people, you know the employment stats. You know these cats don't have money. You know she driving a hoopty, trying to get to work. She didn't get her tags. Why didn't she get her tags? She didn't get her tags because she couldn't afford to get her tags. Why didn't she get her insurance? She didn't get her insurance because she can't afford to get her insurance. Right? Why is she driving without the license? Because she's got to find a job. Right? She got her license suspended. Why did she get her license suspended? Because she was driving without registration. Because she was driving without insurance that she couldn't afford. And now she gets her license suspended, but she still got to go to work. So what's she going to do? Starve or go to work and take a chance that she don't get pulled over? And then you're going to slap on top of her a fee she can't pay? So that's insurance she can't afford, registration she can't afford, a license she lost because she couldn't afford them, and a ticket she can't pay because she can't afford it. You knew all of this. What did you want? You wanted her over here. You wanted her sitting in that cell because the money that you're getting isn't coming from the people you can't get it from. The money is coming from the people you know you can get it from, which is the state, who's going to allocate the funds to keep them there. That's the business of it. And what I'm saying is that business, that basic fundamental thing is not going to change. Regardless of whether or not now the money is allocated towards the maintenance of a building, it's allocated towards a maintenance of, or the upgrades to, or the purchasing of electronic monitoring equipment, you know? What's going on, real Pitbull? What's good, man? And do the same thing applies to a whole lot of other people too, man. Lee Jacks, what you got to say, Lee Jacks? For 1 second, I thought you were going to blame Hearn in the U.S. for crime. Only the crime of ducking. The only crime that Eddie Hearn is responsible for is ducking and maybe fraud. I don't think Eddie's a criminal, dude. Except for over there when he's doing that shoplifting shit. No, excuse me. He price gouging in the UK. Yeah, he's probably guilty of that. Everything pay-per-view and ticket scalping. But then they changed the law so they couldn't do that. They couldn't send those tickets off to secondary vendors real quick. Yes, sir. Let me hit this thing, man. Check the cats, the super chats, man. Much love in the super chat. Torrance Plumber says, I said it from the jump. 365 million came from the 1 billion. Of course it did. Torrance Plumber, exactly. Of course it did. Of course it did. Of course. Why would they just add? You think they're just gonna just keep? They love it. They just love Eddie like that, dog. There was a picture. You go look carefully at the picture of when Eddie Hearn, of when Matchroom Boxing signed Canelo. The picture that's there. Where is Eddie Hearn in that picture? He's in the back row, I believe, off to the right, in the back row with a big smile. Oscar De La Hoya is in the middle of it with his face like this. Like he just lost money. Like, shit. Eddie over there, trying to get in there like he meant to be there. Nah, dog, more than likely they didn't even want you in the picture, homie. Okay? But I guess maybe, you know, you get a little, you get like a promoter's fee for the zone or something. What's good, man? Peace. What's going on, Boham? So Hearn sold him a pipe dream, Hearn pimping. Yeah, I don't understand why they did that. If you're trying to do it in the United States, why would you go to Eddie Hearn? Why would you go to Eddie Hearn? That in the United States. That makes no sense, but they're not stupid. They're going to change because of the metrics. Here's the thing, the metrics. They're going to decide what they do based on what they believe they should receive on it at an incremental basis. And it's not revenue. Okay, I almost guarantee you it's not revenue. It's not going to be the amount of money that they make on an individual fight card. They are trying to gain subscribers to the network. That's what they want. And I'm sure they have several years that they plan to be in the red. They plan to be in the red. They didn't go in there thinking, oh, okay, yeah, man, we're going to just make it. It can't possibly have made that. But they had whatever their metrics were, whatever their operational metrics are, they're keeping an eye on them. And I promise you, Eddie ain't making them. That's why they went to the World Boxing Super Series. Do you realize they about to lose the World Boxing Super Series? The World Boxing Super Series. For a hardcore fan like myself, that was the shit on DAZN. That still is the best thing. That's the best thing that DAZN had going for it, dude. Is for me. as a hardcore fan, is the World Boxing Super Series because they're not in the United States and I got to find some other way to stream it. Like, damn, I got to find a stream to watch Dorticos versus Gassiev. I got to find, a stream to watch Nonito Donaire versus Ryan Burnett, right? And I'm looking forward to the different things going on there, right? That's a great program. But they just stopped it because they weren't. I bet you they're trying to push DAZN for. I would hope they're trying to push DAZN for more money. But if DAZN wants to keep those fights, then DAZN's going to take more of Eddie Hearn's money because Eddie Hearn is putting on UK fights in the United States. Shit's ridiculous. And I don't really even know if the 500 people showing up to the venue is an issue, even though if they're paying for the venue, they probably are. They're getting kind of pissed off about that too. But you can just tell, and they get a ton of bad press. Also, what is the mark? They're internet guys, right? If you're an internet guy, you're a technology guy, then you're going to have algorithms out there trying to figure out so that you can figure out how how is your name being received. So every time you get a bad report or something negative around DAZN, they're going to have Hearn, DAZN associated, generally neutral to negative, right? Canelo Alvarez to DAZN, generally positive. Okay, so our marketing department is looking at how our name is received. Eddie Hearn in the United States, his reputation is mud. Okay, shit is mud. So there's all kind of different ways that you can look at this thing, man, because you got to understand, you got a marketing department. You got the cats that are actually, I guess it would be sales. Sales, for a lack of a better way to determine, would be the people who are keeping track of the free trials that people are signing up for and seeing if a particular event, what's the return on the investment for the event. The return on the investment that they want are trial subscriptions. So at the very least, you might not get them. You're getting somebody to look at your channel. You're getting eyes on your channel because of that. And even if they don't then from there, they're going to have a retention. What percentage retention of these people are we looking forward to? If for every 10 people that get the free trial, if 2 sign on, keep on and sign on, then we're happy with that, right? So they're going to be looking at that. But they're not just going to blindly give Eddie Hearn money and just let him run for 8 years. And the people that thought that shit, when they made their videos and all that, I was sitting back listening, not even sitting back listening. I was telling you, you don't know what you're talking about. You've never been in a boardroom in your life. You do not know what it is. All right. They sit there and you got a cat who is the CEO like this. And the CEO ain't doing all the talking, right? He's going to have his CFO right here, Chief Finance Officer. You can have a CIO, a Chief Information Officer. Then you can have your human resources guy here. And they're all working together to give a report to the CEO. The CEO then takes that, and then he has to go deal with the board of directors, right? So even those 2 guys that are sitting there, they've got reports they've got to give. And at the end of the day, the board is only interested in this. What's our market share? What's our market share in the United States, right? Has it gone up? Has it been the same? Is it the same? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Okay, it is. Where is it towards a projection? Mr. CEO, you gave me a projection at the beginning of this quarter. You said that it was going to increase by 5%. That was your plan. Where are you? I don't give a shit about who fought, what fought. Where are you as far as your projection? Oh, we said it was going to be 5%. It is at 5.5%. Okay, great. Why? Explain to me why you think that you came in above it. Oh, we came in above because this overperformed. All right, this underperformed. So we shifted away from this. Eddie Hearn underperformed. So we had to move money from him. We had to do it, and we brought in Golden Boy. So we made a strategic change. We went away from Matchroom. We went to Golden Boy because what we made this mistake. We We overestimated the name recognition of Anthony Joshua in matchroom boxing in the United States. We underestimated the amount. The negative reaction that we would get from hardcore average boxing fans and their perception of matchroom. So, but what we did was we got lucky. When HBO went out, we invested in Canelo. And what Canelo gave for us was a tremendous push in the Texas and California regions. And the amount of signups we got out of that one fight, right, took us up to the 5%. So what we think, so what's your projection for next time? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little more of the same. Okay. We're going to decrease our spend with Matchroom. We're not going to take the Dillian White, Derek Chisora fight. We're going to decrease our spend there. But now we're going to try to duplicate what we did with Canelo Alvarez. We're going to go straight to whatever. That's what it sounds like. Okay? They didn't. If the CEO goes to the board and said we withdrew $1 billion in cash and we put it in Matchroom Boxing's bank account, and now we're trying to get it back from him. What? It wouldn't even happen because the dude would never even got the job. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. Black Fight Fan TV in the building. Much love in the super chat. I'm going to my super chat challenges. Oh, and hey, man, much shout out to my man Michael Johnson. Much love. He said, nah, $365 million came from Frank Warren and BT Sports. Oh, is that what it is? I know you joking. Canelo got his free trial period and Joshua got his free trial period. Who won? Who gets the budget? Exactly. Who are we going to allocate the budget to? Or am I going to take away from your overall budget? Or are we just going to unallocate it? What do we need to get out of this agreement? General Counsel, what do we need to do to get out of this agreement? Well, we've got a termination clause in here that says that we need to do X, Y, Z. But what about a material breach of contract? Is there a way we can prove that there was a material breach of contract? Oh, well, yeah, I think we have grounds on this because we were very explicit in our negotiations and in section 3.527, whatever the fuck it is, that if they did not meet these benchmarks, that we could terminate the agreement for non-performance. They guaranteed us that they were going to make these benchmarks. If they didn't make these benchmarks, then we can get out scot-free. We can just be gone. Okay, so what do we think we should do? I think we should be gone. Okay? That's how the conversations go, man. Small businesses are different. Big businesses, that's how they do it. Because at the end of the day, they are looking at if they're publicly traded, they're looking at their stock prices. Is it going up or is it going down? Because the chairman of the board is then subject to the stockholders, right? And the stockholders are saying, let me understand something. You got you got Dazn, you got Performance, you got 6, 7, right? Because Dazn is under Performance Group and Performance, or is it Dazn under Performance Group? Whatever. They might have Dazn, Performance Group, XYZ, XYZ, and XYZ. Okay. And underneath Dazn becomes their US division, their Canada division, or however they got that shit divided, dog. But at the end of the day, dog, when you're that big, you're dealing with metrics. You're dealing with are you making it on a quarter by quarter basis? They're not even talking, they're talking about quarter by quarter. Where are you? Because the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission in the US, I'm not sure where Dazn stock is traded, whether it's both or whatever. And I'm not a real expert on that. I just got a general understanding of it. They have to report quarterly. Quarterly. Stockholders want to know where the shit is quarterly. You know what I mean? Quarterly. Those people that got their stock inside the hedge fund managers, they're looking at that shit quarterly. Actually, they might be looking at that stock. They might affect that stock price fucking hourly. But trust me, man, they didn't get that dude no $1 billion, homie, and just say, let's roll. You bugging if you think anything like that, dog. You bugging if you think anything like that. Canada, up there in Canada. Yeah, see, I don't know. That is far from my expertise. I'll tell you where my expertise is. My expertise is in small businesses and medium-sized businesses. I'm positive that they have, when they wrote that agreement and they gave that money to, they said that they were going to do this with Eddie Hearn. They had certain benchmarks he had to make, right? And certain times that they were going to review those benchmarks. When Eddie Hearn jumped out there and said $8 million, $1 billion over 8 years, I was like, man, get the hell out of here. They can't make, first of all, they can't even make an 8-year commitment to you. They wouldn't make an 8-year commitment to you. How would they do 8 years? Get out of here. For a publicly traded, get out of here. Unless they bought you and they say they will pay for your company over 8 years. But they ain't buying you. Oh, UK here. And incentives. Yeah, they'll give them incentives. But I don't even know. If I was them, I wouldn't get them up. Incentives to what? You know what I mean? Incentives to do what? The incentive is this. If you beat your benchmarks, then when the next section is over, I'll be more willing to continue to spend money with you. Your incentive is make your fucking benchmark or your ass ain't getting no more money. Shit, these dudes ain't into just handing out money, dog. I'm telling you. Cats ain't into that. They want results, and they want those results quarterly. And the cats, and that's just at that level. Quarterly, they're talking about event by event. In order to have a good quarter, you plan your events, you got to look at what your events are, because if you get halfway through your quarter, which is 3 months, quarter is 3 months. There's 12 months in a year, right? First quarter is January, February, March, depending on where you are. You know, public is like July through July. Their year is July through July, but publicly traded organizations, their shit is every 3 months. January, February, March is the first quarter, right? April, May, June is the second quarter. July, August, September is the fourth. And then you have the last three, October, November, and December. Right now, we're in the fourth quarter of the year. And the fourth quarter closes out in, it might not even be the 31st because that's a holiday, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more days. And how many quarters has he been in? When did he get it? July? They signed that deal in July. What is July? That's the second quarter. That's the third quarter. He ain't done shit in 2 quarters. That's why they didn't sign the deal. That's why they didn't buy Dillian White, Derek Chisora. Like, fuck out of here. I need a bump. You're fucking up my metrics, homie. No, because I just got some good shit from Canelo. Now you're going to tear my metrics down by giving me an argument for, look, even think about this. Look at how that works, how the two would work together. Just say you got metrics for like the average number of signups per month. And I'm just guessing that would be it, right? Free trials, because they got to do free trials, and then they'll do, retention. But their retention is going to be over a longer period of time, I would think. But so you're averaging it, right? So now they're saying, okay, in the fourth quarter, right? So what are we going to do in the fourth quarter, which is October, November, December? They were like, we're going to do it with Canelo. Canelo's going to get our numbers to spike so that next quarter, we don't have to worry about getting fired, right? So Canelo spikes it. Why would they invest in Chisora White and bring their numbers down? They would actually bring their numbers down, because there is that manipulation of the numbers that they're going to present to their superiors. And trust me, if it's average, they're going to get rid of that fight, because that's going to tear down their average. It's going to tear down their average. They might say, I'm going to put on less events. All right, and when are we watching? Because, dude, these guys got fucking boxing matches on for like 9 hours trying to get people to, but I would just love to see what the actual metrics, what the standards that they're using are. Nah, and they're saying there was 10 million illegal streams for the Fury Wilder fight. Can Showtime sue Facebook for illegal streams? Hold on. Can they sue them for illegal streams? I mean, it depends on, they can sue them for illegal streams. Will they is an issue. You can sue somebody for anything. It just depends on what are they suing them for? Right? And was there reasonable, did they use reasonable, somebody violated their platform. Did their rules, were they taking reasonable precautions to make sure that it didn't happen? And also, I'm not even sure that Showtime might even really want to do it. Because if they had 10 million illegal streams, that means 10 million people watched their channel. Man, they might think that that's good name recognition, especially because it was pay-per-view. And pay-per-view has, it's if you make a certain numbers and you don't lose any money, right? So they could, it depends on how they look at it. Number one, is it worth the money to go through that with Facebook, right? That might be an unnecessary distraction. And there's this thing with deep pockets, and I'm sure people have sued Facebook up and down the block, and they've got an army. They got fucking an army of law firms, right? Who got more than got their shit together, and they might wind up being a battle in those cats forever and a day. I doubt that they would. Just looking way on the outside of it, I doubt that they would do that. And they might just say, "Look, man, the illegal streams. Look, we broke even. We could have made incrementally more money." Right? But those might have been people that wouldn't have watched it anyway, right? So most of the people that are going to illegally stream it are people that wouldn't have watched it at all if it wasn't on pay-per-view. So at least with those illegal streams, we got some inadvertent benefit out of it, some indirect benefit in it that they saw our product, and they might be willing to come to Showtime and subscribe to Showtime, just regular Showtime, right? So, you can sue somebody. You can sue somebody for anybody, whether or not anything. Whether or not you can win it is something else, completely different. Let me go. Great box. Hey, what's going on, Reggie? I said great boxing talk. Casuals, you won't get this type of boxing talk on ESPN, Fox. You're a fan of boxing. You'll vibe to these LDBC and new media channels. Absolutely, you get the gong for that. But dog, these boys some of these dudes don't understand, dog. And now I'm just waiting. I've been waiting. Like I did the video yesterday. What excuse are you going to make for this? Eddie Hearn got paid more money by Showtime. Let me give you your arguments ahead of time. Eddie got more money from Showtime. It's not that Dazn didn't want to do it. It's that Showtime paid more money. What is Eddie going to say, dog? This is another purse bid loss. This is a rights bid lost. But it can't even be a right. They had to have refused it. They've had to have refused it. Or Derek Chisora had to have in his contract that the highest bidder gets the U.S. TV rights. And I don't see why they would give that to Derek Chisora. But maybe they gave it to Derek Chisora. But at the end of the day, it ain't on Dazn. And Eddie had to creep his ass back over to Showtime. Put your tail between your legs and go watch Showtime, boy. Steven Espinosa, we'll take the fight. We'll take it. Dazn don't want you. We'll take it. We'd love to have it, and we'd love to have it. When they don't air Anthony Joshua's next fight, maybe it'll be back on Showtime or ESPN, because that's the other thing. 100,000. This is now when Cats came out with 15,000 downloads for Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin, 15,000 downloads, right? Eddie Hearn, I didn't know if that number was true or not true. I had heard it, and I respect the people that gave the numbers, but I just never actually saw the source for it. Not saying the source wasn't out there, right? But I didn't see it. I didn't look for it either, quite honestly. Eddie Hearn said that was a bad number. It was more like, man, you could have at least said 100,000. That's not good either, but it's 100,000. Okay, so let's say Eddie Hearn said it's 100,000, so let's split the difference with Eddie. And and give him a little bit and say it was 75,000 downloads, right? Now that must be downloads of the app. That probably is the metric that they're using. 75,000 downloads of the app, right? So they downloaded the app, 75,000 downloads of the app. Why in the world would they pay for Anthony Joshua versus the winner of Dillian White, Derek Chisora? Especially since they didn't air the Derek Chisora, Dillian White fight. They have to know that there's a chance that that's Anthony Joshua's next opponent, but they're not going to buy that fight. Don't be surprised if Anthony Joshua winds up his humbled ass back on Showtime in the United States, back on Showtime in the middle of the afternoon. Don't be surprised. Because that's the next step. No, we don't want that fight. And Anthony Joshua was on Dazn talking about Deontay Wilder on ESPN, Deontay Wilder. Why would that be? Why would Eddie Hearn ever have taken Anthony Joshua off of US TV? That shit make no sense. Who does that? Who does that? Who takes Anthony Joshua? As much as I talk shit about Anthony Joshua not wanting to fight Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua has a lot of potential in the United States. Number one, there's a lot of potential in the United States. And you Anthony Joshua fans are not going to make the money in the United States go away. Okay? You're not going to make that go away. Nobody's going to, it doesn't matter. You can argue with it all you want. You're not going to make it go away. Okay? 300,000 pay-per-views for Anthony Joshua. I'll go down and say 300,000, even though we don't know what the number is. 300,000 pay-per-views for Deontay Wilder is the same thing as 900,000 pay-per-views in the UK. Okay? The whole idea that Deontay Wilder needed to do 1 million pay-per-views to catch up to Anthony Joshua is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Canelo Alvarez probably does 1 million pay-per-views. And I say probably because they never let his numbers out. But if you do it 1 million, he's charging $90 damn for his pay-per-views. That's $90 million just off his pay-per-view in a $28 million gate. Why in the world would Deontay Wilder have to get Canelo Alvarez's numbers to be the same as Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua is making $53 million? Because his ass is in the UK. He's in the UK. Y'all are bugging. I mean, and now it's falling on your face again. How many L's is Eddie Hearn going to have to take before you understand? Eddie Hearn he talks good, speaks well, but makes very, very questionable decisions as it comes to what he's doing with Anthony Joshua. He could have already had everything settled. Everything. He could have fought Deontay Wilder. He could fight Deontay Wilder in the United States. If he fought Deontay Wilder in the United States, and beat him, Anthony Joshua would probably be the king of boxing. Probably. Because that's 1 million pay-per-view buys. But he knows it. He just doesn't want to do it yet. Indecision. He wants to stick with his plan. That plan got scrapped because Deontay Wilder is a real face in boxing. You cannot act as if this dude is not known. You cannot act as if he's not a threat. You can't. That's all people want. And now you can't act like Tyson Fury's not real. If you're not going to do the Deontay Wilder fight, at least try to fight Tyson Fury. At least try to fight Tyson Fury in the UK. What are you doing? It's just you don't want any chances. He just doesn't want to take any chances with Anthony Joshua. Anyway, let me go to this comment section, man. Peace to the chat. Salute to the LWC Ramses. Sutton the third. Ortiz being aged out 2 more years at top max. Yeah, I mean, he's like 40 years old. Yeah, of course he is, man. He's being ducked out. AJ sold ibuprofen in Ziploc bags. Oh, is that why he went to jail? He been trying to sell that line, man. Anthony Joshua that ain't no street dude, dog. He would have fought if he was. Fannon speaks well and fast, but decisions are suspect. Fast Eddie, yeah. I mean, dude, this is not even complicated, man. I mean, who does that? Who takes their number one fighter off of American TV? Convinces them not to take $50 million guaranteed fight. That's the baddest. That is literally the baddest pay-per-view, the worst PR move in the history of boxing. Skip whether or not, never mind whether or not the money was real or in Anthony Johnson, man. I'm sorry, I missed that super chat. He said Eddie Hearn is the new Puff Daddy. He remixes the same old shit. Absolutely. Much love in the super chat to Anthony Johnson. And it'll be like the new Puff. Like, you better go buy some restaurants or something, homie. Okay? Get some Eddie Hearn vodka, something like that. Because if something happens to Biggie, something happens to your Biggie, that's going to be a wrap on your music, homie. Okay? You're going to be messing with Mace. You're going to be trying to sell cats Mace. All right? And that ain't going to work because his ass going to run to church. You better lock Jay-Z down. you better lock Jay-Z down and get out the videos, dog. Yeah. First PR and then worst PR and financial advice. The PR was worse than the finance. The PR was the public relations. That's a nightmare. That's a public relations nightmare for a boxer. To be widely known or rumored to be a coward is the absolute worst PR you can have for a fighter. He's a fighter. Fight. He's not supposed to be scared of anybody. And trying to act and trying to sell people on how much money he makes. I would go to the UK. There's this channel where I get basically all of the boxing streams from the UK, right? Or outside the United States, just to hear what people are talking about, the articles coming out and whatever. So I could always tell, you always knew when AJ and Eddie Hearn did like a PR release, right? It's because you would see these articles, which are basically paid advertisements, that would come out talking about things like the new Anthony Joshua's net worth, like the things that come out on Forbes, how much money he's making, how many Twitter followers he has, how he's the most, what does Anthony Joshua like for breakfast? Shit like that. I'm like, okay, you're trying to sell this dude's lifestyle. All right? You're trying to sell a lifestyle. He's the humble, rich, attractive guy that yuppie girls and yuppie boys can get behind, come to the Wembley Stadium. But then when you didn't take $50 million, he got labeled a coward. And all of those other things that he did that you built him up on, people immediately started saying over here in the United States who don't care about that or have no reason to care about that, because we got all kind of cats talking about how much money they make. All right, all kind of people. We got boxer after boxer after boxer, okay? Made a lot of money. Now they're just looking at coward. Anthony Joshua's a coward. Anthony Joshua's a coward. Anthony Joshua's a coward. What kind of guy passes up $50 million for a fight and says he won't take it because he wants to be in his backyard? And the fans deserve to see me in the backyard, and the American judges will cheat me and all that crap. All you should have taken the fact. Some things you just can't get out of. Some things you can't get out of. Like I told my son, like son, he asked me coming home from school. He was like, Dad, what's self-defense? Right? Like, when are you defending yourself when somebody tries to hit you? Okay. And I was like, I explained to him what self-defense is. If somebody puts you if you feel like you're in danger of somebody inflicting bodily harm on you, right? You have the right to defend yourself and stop that threat. But once you go past that, that's when you're out of self-defense, right? So if somebody throws a punch at you and you knock them down, right? And they are out, right? You defended yourself. But if you then jump on top of their head and start punching them when they're unconscious, that's not self-defense. That your self-defense now is gone. Now you're committing battery, right? So he said, well, what if somebody starts a fight with you? The school said that you're not supposed to fight. You know, they suspended him. I said, well, what did the dude do ahead of the fight? Why did the guy come run and grab him from behind and punch him? Oh, he talked about his girlfriend. I was like, oh, see, he contributed to that. And the school would say, hold on, you started this shit. You talk bad about his girlfriend and you have a history of being in fights. So we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt, dude. You got to go. Okay? Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder jumped in your face and challenged you to a fight. And you denied it. You said, I will do it if. Then he showed up and satisfied the if, and then you came up with another reason. You should have fought. You're a fighter. That's your reputation. Your reputation is everything. The reason why I still celebrate Muhammad Ali is because his reputation is intact. Anthony Joshua's reputation is out the window in the United States. And it's out of the window with half the UK. You got the top. When is another time that you've had 3 of the top 4 heavyweights in the world calling the other guy a coward? Tyson Fury didn't call Deontay Wilder a coward. He said, I think he won the fight, but damn, that boy hits like a ton of bricks. And I know why cats ain't trying to fight him. Deontay Wilder's like, hey, man, I think I won the fight. Hey, but that dude deserves a rematch. Dude got hurt. I shocked that dude got up. I knocked his head off, right? Tyson Fury. I mean, Luis Ortiz talking about Deontay Wilder. Hey, man, I want my rematch, but hey, man, he stepped up to fight me unlike the rest of these dudes. Deontay Wilder by Luis Ortiz, man, look, dude, other than me, this is the second best heavyweight in the world. Y'all need to fight him. Luis Ortiz about Anthony Joshua, he's a coward. Tyson Fury about Anthony Joshua, he's a coward. Deontay Wilder on Anthony Joshua, he's a coward. His reputation is in tatters, man. Because of bad advice. Bad advice. You don't get to lay out what happens over the next 10 years. You got to fight the next fight. And if you fight the next fight, people are going to think highly of you either way. Because you brawled, man. Don't nobody care about you being undefeated forever. If you got heart, you willing to fight. Lennox Lewis got knocked out twice. He's still remembered very well because he fought. The dudes he got knocked him out. He was like, rematch. And he knocked him out. Okay, it's like Rahman never knocked him out. But Eddie Hearn gave this dude such bad advice as it pertains to the United States. And I have to believe as it pertains to the UK, man. Because you got the other dude calling you a coward, Tyson Fury, calling you a coward. And he, after being a 300 pounds overweight, whatever, 150 pounds overweight, after 2 tune-up fights, goes overseas and has a good fight with the guy that you were scared that you wouldn't take $50 million to fight. You can't tell me these dudes in the UK don't think you trash, man. Oh yeah, AJ say you're a coward too. How do you sell that? How do you sell that? And but it's Fannon. It's the LDBC. It's the LDBCs making up this narrative, dog. We made up this narrative. I'm echoing the hell out this narrative. Anthony Joshua can solve the problem, make the fight. Even when he says he wants to make the fight, it's if, it needs to be on this date, on my terms, because everybody knows I'm the man. No, they don't know you're the man. The only people that think you're the man are the people that believe what the media is telling them. The media is like, it's on a piece of paper. What am I supposed to say in this interview with Anthony Johnston? Oh, Anthony Joshua? Oh, it's Anthony Joshua? Oh, so he's the top heavyweight? Okay. Hey, everybody. Many people think you're the top heavyweight, right? Max Kellerman even sneak dissed him. So like, I'm listening to Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman sneak dissed that dude. He really did. In the kind of smart-assy way, passive-aggressive way that cats like that will smart-ass you, right? They'll say, let me get your arguments out of the way. You make the most money, $500 billion or whatever it is you say you make. And there was a point in time last year where you were the only one. After you beat Klitschko, you were the only one. It was like this. You were the man at heavyweight. Nobody else. But now, some people say that playing field is narrowed. Some people say that you're not the man. You are just a title holder. What do you have to say about these people? Well, I'm the man. Everybody knows. Look at my 5 years that I've been in boxing and all I've done for these 5 years. But nobody cares about that, Anthony. We want to know what you're going to do next. Well, I'm willing to fight Deontay Wilder. He just needs to be none of these fantasy deals that he's asking for. What do you mean? Like being paid for the fight on a percentage basis? Like everybody else you've ever fought got paid on a percentage? We don't believe you, Anthony. And that's too many ifs, ands, or buts. Too much time spent explaining yourself. And that's why nobody gives it. And, keep on selling them, though, dog. These haters getting their heads knocked up, hating on Fannon. Oh, I wasn't even looking at the chat. Y'all getting blasted? You know they blasting y'all, dog. Oh, man, what's going on, BC Mac? Let me hit this, man. Let me check out these super chats. I'll read the comment section again. But, yeah, dog, get out of here, man. Nobody believing y'all. You can hate all you want. I'm telling you the truth. Hardcore truth. Big CY Mac, much love in the building, man. He said, Fannon, way ahead of you idiots. Thank you, sir, for your validity and providing facts. Keep cooking. Beloved LDBC versus everybody, absolutely all day, every day. Shout out to the LDBC. That's how it rolls. And I'm telling you, that's on y'all. Every step of the way, you guys keep walking into walls. What is your explanation for why Dazn is not showing Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora? Didn't they give him $1 billion to do whatever he wanted to do with him? You mean he didn't want to take a little bit of that money? Why? Was it Eddie Hearn's decision to go to Showtime? Showtime where he just said that they were going to be out of boxing? Didn't Eddie Hearn just say that Showtime was going to, he thought Showtime was going to be out of boxing within a year? Ain't that what Eddie Hearn said? But now, the people that were going to be out of boxing in a year have the U.S. rights to Derek Chisora, Dillian Whyte. How did that happen? How did that happen? You think they were going to pay you a lot of money for that? For an afternoon fight? For Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte? No. Pennies on the dollar. They got that shit for pennies on the dollar. Because DAZN would not pay for Eddie's crap. And if the April 13th fight for Anthony Joshua winds up being on Showtime, let's do this for Eddie Hearn and DAZN. I should go to 10. I'm going to ring 10 gongs for his ass with Showtime with DAZN if they don't air Joshua's fight. Because if they're not going to pay for Joshua, they're not going to be paying for Sam Eggington versus Joshua or whoever the hell. Okay? Not going to pay for it. They'll be fed. Hey, hold on. Oscar De La Hoya, let's talk about this guy you got here, Ryan Garcia. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia. Okay? Let's talk about Ryan Garcia. What can we do to market Ryan Garcia? Okay? Because we think Ryan Garcia, who is from California, I think he's from California, is a better investment. We want to get behind you, Oscar. How do we? Let's go see if we can get Teofimo Lopez over here, dude. Hey. Showtime. All right. Can we get some of them PBC fights? Can we get the rights to some of those to show in Canada? Because, they can't get Showtime in Canada. Can we buy some of those to show boxing in Canada and we'll block it out over here? They'll do something, dog. Shit. But y'all just keep on saying it, dog. Keep on saying it. Eddie's smart. Eddie's going to win. Eddie's going to take over U.S. boxing. Well, it's a damn shame how the tables have turned on Eddie. Yeah, I'm glad. But honestly, man, I'm really kind of having fun with it. I'm kind of having fun with it. Because most of the people that are doing these cats are paid. Some of these guys. Guess what somebody accused me of yesterday? This is newsworthy for, for the channel. Not really big. It's just interesting for cats to pay attention, really pay attention to the LDBC and like other and versus other channels. There, you know that people came out with the fact that Eddie Hearn was paying certain channels in the UK $500 a month for pro Dazn, pro Anthony, pro Matchroom videos, right? And also that he was paying for people to fly with Dazn, paying for news media to fly and cover Dazn fights. Now, wind up that most of the people at those fights were the media that they flew in. But somebody said, how much is PBC paying you? $500 a month? I was like, oh, now you're going to try that. You're going to accuse me of taking money from the PBC for $500? No. Just the answer, no. They have never given me a red cent, never talked to anybody in the PBC, don't know anybody in the PBC. Don't know them, don't want to know them. Don't need them. Do it for free. I do it for free. Because I believe this. You have to understand why I support the PBC. I support the PBC because the PBC were the first first major boxing promotional outfit that I saw, other than Don King's kind of off. Not gonna count Don King, kind of funny ass dude. That took fighters that were getting swept under the rug by Golden Boy and swept under the rug by HBO and gave them a platform to make them the stars that they are becoming. There was a time where Acelino Freitas was, the next big star in boxing is Acelino Freitas, right? Have you noticed that Ring Magazine, somebody pointed this out, that the last 5 Ring Magazine fighters of the year have been Eastern European? How the hell is that? How the hell does that have nobody? Nobody. The next one, I'm gonna say the next one's gonna be that too. Because there is a absolutely purposely intended move by Showtime, by HBO at the time. But the main perpetrator of it was Top Rank over on Showtime to push Eastern European fighters. Golden Boy, and before that, they were pushing Mexican fighters. But I guess the Mexican fighters got too expensive for Golden Boy. Got too expensive, and they wanted their fair cut of the money from Top Rank, so they started pushing the Eastern European fighters that they could underpay and hype up. They went that route. But they were not fighter after fighter after fighter after fighter from America, especially black fighters, were getting, it's like, God dog, man, they had to do everything. Where was the celebrations for Roy Jones Jr.? All HBO did is shit on Roy Jones Jr.'s fights. Shit on Bernard Hopkins. Shit on Floyd Mayweather Jr. swept on the rug for like a decade. I understand why Floyd's a jackass now. Because he's treated like crap for the first 10 years of his career. It's like, God dog, this is the best fighter in the world. And Top Rank wouldn't even do him. So I wouldn't even give him any promotion. So yeah, I'm down. I like the PBC. So, and if they're going to put up the Errol Spences, the Sean Porters, the Deontay Wilders, the only reason that Deontay Wilder's not completely swept under the rug, because you guys over there in the UK tried to do it. You act like the dude didn't exist, like his million viewers that watch him every fight ain't real. He would have never even got that chance to do that if he had still been over there with Golden Boy. Golden Boy would have never built him up. Golden Boy would never have tried to build up Errol Spence Jr. the way they built up Errol Spence, the way the PBC built up Errol Spence Jr. Never. So yeah, I represent that. Yes, I'm down with that. Okay, when they stop doing it, then I'll have a beef with them, because these are American fighters that are very, very good, and I support them. Absolutely, and you don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay me. They don't have to pay me, because if they stop doing it, they're not going to pay me for ripping them a new one. Because I will say, hey, welterweights, you need to fight. Terrence Crawford, you do. Terrence Crawford is over there, stuck over there with Top Rank. And these cats are acting like I don't give a shit. Ha, ha, ha. You don't get to punch me in the face, Terrence. I'm going to sit around and wait around to fight Thurman. I'm going to sit around and fight Porter, right? I want a rematch against Danny Garcia. You know, I see what's going on there, and I want to be able to say that freely. Okay? I don't have to compliment Al Hayman. If I want to say some shade, I think Al Hayman's shady, I can say I think Al Hayman's shady. But guess what? Unlike your boy Eddie Hearn, he's not stupid enough to talk. He's not stupid enough to put enough shit on paper where I can be like, hold on. This is what you said. Okay? You didn't say that you want the fight. You said you're willing to make the fight. You didn't say you're going to make it. You said you're willing to make it. What does that mean? Why are you saying willing to and will make? What needs to happen for you to change that word from willing to will make the fight? Huh? I don't have, but you know what? Mum's the word with Al Hayman because he's not stupid. Quite an intelligent guy, too, by the way. It's not like I've never heard him speak. I heard what he said in the deposition with Oscar De La Hoya. That whole thing in the decision. Dude, let me tell you something, man. I know, by the way, much love in Super Chat. I know there's some cats that got mad at me. Shout out in the Super Chat. To my man, it's coming up. To my man, Tavion Parrish said, so does Big Baby Miller leave the zone if it's not doing good in the U.S.? Dog, if they don't buy his fight, it's going to be on whatever network they're going to be on. If he's promoted by Matchroom, and Matchroom has the rights to promote his fights, he'll go to whatever deal that Eddie Hearn makes for him. You know, just like Dillian White did. Dillian White just took his ass over to Showtime because that's where the fight went. because Eddie Hearn didn't want to come out of his pocket and pay for that. I'm assuming. But anyway, goddamn, man, I lost my train of thought a little bit. Let me get to this. AJ can't look into the camera, man, dog. AJ just, come on, man. Dude's whack as shit. Crawford, that they are, but they tried to throw him to the wolves at first. Oh, that they're pubbing up Terrence Crawford? Yeah, I mean, anyway, man, so I would like, that's what I was talking about. All right, man, I got a couple comments from subscribers. I know there are people who made videos that weren't happy with it. But look, man, I'm going to want to explain my stance on this whole on an older issue, but something if you leave it in my comments and ask you, I'm going to tell you what I think. And you can agree with it or not agree with it. I've been pretty consistent on it. Some years ago, there were some reporters that were on the payroll for Golden Boy Promotions. They called Al Hayman the Black Hitler and might have called him the N-word. I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was some very inflammatory shit that they said about Al Hayman and how they were going to look and try to go out of their way to destroy Al Hayman, right? That's the gist of the emails. And they were emails that were related to the court case between Al Hayman and Oscar De La Hoya, where Al Hayman was sued by Oscar De La Hoya and also by Bob Arum, but Bob Arum dropped out of the case because he got sense and knew it was going to fall on his face for violation of the Sherman Act, which is antitrust, basically saying that they were trying to create a monopoly, right? Violations of the Ali Act, which was that Al Hayman was really a promoter, but he was acting as both a promoter and a manager, right? And maybe something else. Maybe there was a third claim in that case. But regardless, in the middle of the interviews for that, they pulled out that information and that became public. Oscar De La Hoya never issued an apology to people for the fact that those emails were written about Al Hayman. And the thing, so there was a talk in the LDBC or I don't know if it was YTBC at the time or whether it was within the LDBC, because the time frames of when the LDBC really kicked off is kind of, I don't always remember the exact date and where that fell, but pretty much the same cast. Blood was talking about it. Ticket was talking about it, about boycotting Golden Boy Promotions. And this is before I had a channel. And my take on it was this. And let me explain why I think this. First, I'll tell you what I think. I didn't see any need to boycott him because they lost the case. And to me, he looked like a raving fucking moron in the case. Because I had read the decision and they were like, they just threw the shit out. Like, this is trash. Get out of here. Right? Now, Oscar De La Hoya was asked to, and Fred asked, was thrown out of an interview or thrown out of, he's either thrown out or not allowed access to a Golden Boy event because he was trying to push and get answers to that question and trying to get them to apologize, right? This is and I believe that first of all, that guy should have been fired, or however they were associated with him. He should either not done business with them or whatever. And I really do wish that Bernard Hopkins would have said something about it. Hey, you know what? Look, man, that was foul. And I made sure that we went out of our way to make sure we never work with that guy. And that does not reflect the intentions, or the feelings of Golden Boy Promotions. I think that would have been the classier thing, the classier thing for them to have done. I wish that they would have done that. And since that point in time, Bernard Hopkins has taken a lot of criticism for being a COON and all that, all that stuff. And the backlash on him within hardcore Black American fight fans has been pretty severe, right? So they're like, let's not cover Canelo or Golden Boy events. My stance on it was this. Every single solitary time that if you don't cover and talk about that issue, then nobody will know that issue ever exists. I'm not going to, I don't believe in, let me say this better. I don't want their fucking apology. I want them to fail. I don't want apologies because if you didn't apologize, I don't believe you. Now, do I believe that Oscar De La Hoya patently does not like black people? I don't know. I've never seen him say anything out of his mouth that would make me believe that he's Abel Sanchez. I don't. Bernard Hopkins, he should have said something about it. But I don't know what good it's going to do to not say something about that during a Golden Boy fight when that's the absolute best time that there is to say something about it. And I have a consistent theory about pointing out that Oscar De La Hoya doesn't make good fights, that Oscar De La Hoya does not support black fighters, that there's not a single guy on his roster that gets the attention that a Canelo Alvarez does, right? And I see his whole organization crumbling. So I don't have a problem covering the Canelo Alvarez fight. That's my take on it. Now, other people have different takes on it. They don't think that the name of Oscar De La Hoya should ever be mentioned on a boxing channel by myself or other people. I respect that. I just think that the best way for me to go about it is, number one, to be happy that he lost that case. Number two, I'm going to trash him and his stance and the way that he treated black fighters as much as I possibly can until he changes his ways, related to promoting black fighters. It's kind of feeling like a short term, that's my take on it. But do I care about the emails? I don't know enough about the relationship between Oscar De La Hoya himself and the writer that wrote that to say that I know for sure. And also, I don't know what Oscar De La Hoya has did to that guy behind closed doors. He very well said, like, man, we can't ever deal with you again. He might have had a personal conversation about it. I don't know. I want him to have apologized for it, though. And he didn't do that. And I think that he has suffered a lot because of it. Oscar De La Hoya can't sign black fight. No real black fighters, no talent is going to sign with him. Because number one, they think of him as a cross-dresser. Number two, they've got somewhere else to go where they can be treated in a better fashion. In the battle between Oscar De La Hoya and Al Hayman won that court case, and Al Hayman is kicking his ass in the boxing world overall. He even lost his HBO home. So now, can I be wrong about that? I could be wrong about that. and other people can disagree. I respect your disagreements. You know what I mean? But that's my take on it. So I wanted to answer that so people don't, think that I just don't care about the emails. I know about the emails. I think that those cats were real foul and they should have apologized for it. But they didn't take the high road. Oscar may also have laughed and snorted lines with the guy. Yeah, he might have. I just don't know. I don't know. But I'm not going to say that, the emails are what they are, and they're well known and they keep being talked about. So, I am not an Oscar De La Hoya fan at all, nor a supporter of Golden Boy Promotions. But he got his ass whooped in that court case. And that's the part that I like about it. Yeah, that's what he is. And number one, he's a cross-dresser. Yeah, exactly. Dog, that's the number one. That's the big. He's not going to get anybody to sign with him, dude. He's off now running over there to see, man, God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly. Now he's trying to figure out how to do MMA, he's trying to figure out how to do MMA, and he's off on a second-tier platform in Dazn for his fight cards. I'm not even sure if ESPN's even showing his fights anymore, What's the model of your mic? Is it USB or Bluetooth? This is a USB, and it's a Yeti. Refusing to acknowledge it enough for me on the emails. Yeah. He should have acknowledged it. He should have. I wish he would have. But who knows why he did? There's another. Why wouldn't he? And this is where just being, advising people on subjects like this, sometimes they can say, look, man, you can't, what should I do? Should I apologize for this? Well, if you apologize for that, then you might open yourself up to something from Al Hayman, right? If you admit to that you had responsibility to try to shut Al Hayman down, right? And you accept you speaking about that might have been him and Bernard Hopkins accepting responsibility for that, right? And if they express responsibility for it, then they might be opening themselves up to something from Al Hayman, where Al Hayman said, hold on, man, you apologize for your employee trying to shut my business down and tampering with my business. That's an admission. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to sue you, Oscar De La Hoya, personally. I'm going to sue Bernard Hopkins personally. I'm going to sue Golden Boy because they made that admission. You know what I mean? That's why when you have people apologize for things, they'll say things like, although we admit no wrongdoing, it's unfortunate that this happened. And we like to communicate there's different ways that they could have handled it, but I don't know what their counsel advised them to do. That's me, but that's just me. If somebody did something like, I'm going to tell you just another example, man. All right. I had spoken with somebody one time who had an accident, right? They had an accident. They had an accident. And in this accident, something terrible happened in this accident. Something terrible happened in this accident. And what I told him was, you don't remember. But, and he was like, but, I was like, no, you don't remember. I was not his attorney. I was not counseling him. I was like, dude, you don't remember. You don't remember. And you don't remember. The difference between that man not remembering and him telling somebody what he thought he remembered might have been 15 years in jail. Might have been 15 years. You don't remember. I wouldn't, and now his attorney couldn't tell him that. But I could, and I did. You don't remember. So when I hear situations like somebody not speaking up about something or expressing or not commenting on something and refusing to comment on something, it might not be that the person doesn't feel some type of remorse about the circumstance. It might be that they were advised not to. And the reason that they were advised not to is because they didn't want to open themselves up to ramifications that were out of sorts with what their responsibility was, right? Somebody who's an underling to you writing something in an email that you didn't approve of. Is that worth $15 million lawsuit between the judgment and the fees? I don't know. You know what I mean? So is that why Bernard Hopkins didn't say anything about it? It could be, So, I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying that that's the perspective that I have on things. I believe the writer's name was Ezequiel Balderas. I believe the director of communication was Romero. Yeah, now you can go look up and see what happened with those guys afterwards. If they're still on, they're still working with them. That's not cool, But I was just speaking on that particular, because I've heard people talk real heavy and hard on Bernard Hopkins. And I don't think anybody's ever heard me call Bernard Hopkins a coon. I don't know that he is or he's not. I don't know the man, but I know that Oscar De La Hoya has cost Bernard Hopkins a lot of money with his foolishness, because Bernard Hopkins is a percentage owner in Golden Boy. And through the ineptitude of Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins got the value of Golden Boy went down. But that's still property that Bernard Hopkins owns. So I just, it's just hard, man. It's hard for me, man. It's just hard for me. I don't know what happened. But at the same time, if people want to say, man, I ain't talking about these dudes, I'm blackballing them, or I'm boycotting them, I'm not going to stand in the way of that. Because I think I think there's repercussions, rightful repercussions from that have occurred. It's just that I don't know. I don't know. It's not that I don't care. It's that I don't know. Now, if I talk to Bernard Hopkins and Bernard Hopkins said, man, that wasn't nothing. So what? He said that. He is the Black Hitler. Then I'd be like, oh, damn, Bernard. Wow, but you bugging. Like with what just happened with Andre Ward, man. Right? I'm Andre Ward, and Andre Ward said it. He said it after I said it. And so I agree with him, but I agree with him. And I agree with him about what he said about Deontay Wilder. He said, look, man, I can understand how people can interpret what I said to be me hating on Deontay. I'm paraphrasing what he said. I can understand how people would take it that way. But if you know me and you know my track record, you know that I'm pro fighter and I'm never going to disrespect a fighter in the ring. But I can understand how it came across like that. But that's not how I intended it. But since you never heard me say that before, I would think that you could give me the benefit of the doubt, because that's not my mode of operation. Right? Now, while I understand the people that would think that took that message from Andre Ward like they took it, right? Because I could feel it. That's how I read it. I'm like, what? You don't think he wants another Tyson Fury? Why would you think that? Right? I didn't agree with him. But then when he came back, he's like, look, that's not what I meant. I meant he had a bad style for him. So why would he want to fight a guy that has a bad style for him again? He's not going to look good in the next fight. Okay, that's cleaned up a little bit. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because you're not Abel Sanchez. Now, if Abel Sanchez said black fighters don't sell. He said it. Black fighters don't sell. I'm like, oh, it ain't two ways out of that. Because number one, that ain't right. Okay? That's not right. Okay? And you said that the reason you didn't want Gennady Golovkin versus Andre Ward probably because Andre Ward didn't sell. That's not true. That's patently false. You know, we don't like him because he's got the black style or the way the black fighters fight. And all that pandering that he does with Gennady Golovkin in Mexican style. There's time and time again that I can say, oh no, that dude right there, I believe he has a negative viewpoint about black people, Abel Sanchez, because he said it and he said it over and over again. But, you know, anyway, I just wanted to address that because somebody left a comment on my page, and I know the Ticket isn't happy with people that cover Oscar De La Hoya fights, and I haven't seen this video. I was just told it was out there. But I'm not arguing with Ticket. I respect Ticket's opinion. And I don't actually even know what it is because I haven't seen the video yet. But when you come to my channel asking me, kind of in a smart ass tone, so what about that? Oh, come on, man. If you know me well, and if you've listened to my videos at all, you understand my viewpoint on subjects like that. Okay? My viewpoint is that I love my people and I have no problem whatsoever telling you that I do. I have no problem whatsoever supporting fighters, lending my support to fighters who otherwise wouldn't receive it. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem calling things like I see it when people behave in that manner. I have no problem doing that. I have not been called a COON in my life by somebody that actually knew me. So just because I don't believe that I need to like boycott a Canelo Alvarez fight because of something related to Oscar De La Hoya does not mean that I don't care about the subject. I care very much about the subject. I can't afford not to care about the subject. Adrian Bronner would be considered an oon by proper definition, meaning he perpetuates buffoonery stereotypes for the entertainment of the mainstream. Yes, he could just be that way. Tone Makers, I've been little abused by Fannon. He snatched my wrench from me for temporarily time me out, but I rolled him heavy. Hey, man, here you go. I snatched shit out. Why? I snatched shit people from. You just gotta tell me you need your wrench back. All right. If I took your wrench, just tell me that I took your wrench and I'll give it back, dude. I don't have a problem with that. Why not? Let me go through the comment section because I guess how long have I been on here, man? Oh, an hour and 40. All right, I'm running over. All right. But look, man, I appreciate everybody, man. I just wanted to get that. I want to end that, man. Reggie Owens, you added great perspective to that whole ordeal at Fannon. Hey, man, I appreciate you saying that. I just wanted to get my thought process on it. And it's something that I thought about carefully. Okay? It really is. Bernard Hopkins gets a lot of heat, and it's, and I think it all emanates from that and other things that he said. I close my eyes, and a lot of times I don't listen to Bernard Hopkins because I'm like, man, it is what it is, man. I'm just listening to the great. What's going on, BFTB Boxing? If y'all ain't subscribed to BFTV, man, subscribe to BFTV, man. BFTB Boxing, man. Great, great, great channel, man. This cat has got a very good, very sharp mind, man. And the thing I like about you, Best Fight the Best, is I'll think I'll know what you're going to say. Like, I think I'll have like an argument, right? Which is the easy way to deflect an argument. I usually like to argue. I will just deflect your argument, usually just off the easiest path. Best Fight the Best takes in an argument the path of most resistance and still snuff somebody. I do that style. I like, right? I like it because the easiest way, because I do it the easy way. I'm not going to lie. I do it the easy way. I'm just like, okay, what you're saying is not true. Consequently, go away. Best Fight the Best will say, what you're saying is not true, but I'm going to give you that. And then I'm still going to choke you with it. That is good, man. That shit is good. What did you do? There's one argument that you did the other day. I was like, man, that was really clever. That was really, really clever, man. There's some cats that I think are really, really intelligent guys. Cali Enigma is a very, very intelligent guy, man. Listening to Cali Enigma's channel, Cali Enigma brings a lot of energy. But Cali Enigma is just cognitively, he's a very, very sharp. He's a very, very intelligent guy. Best Fight the Best Boxing is a very, very, he has a knife-like intellect. And what was the shit that you said? I'm just trying to remember what that was. It had something to do with had something to do with Tyson Fury. Oh, you said, a simple one. You said, okay, assuming what you said is true about there being 18,000, what is it? You said there's 17,500 in the building, right? So and you say 8,000 of that 7.5 were the ones that came to see Tyson Fury. What I would have said best fight the best was, get the fuck out of here. 8,000 people did not come in to see that. That's ridiculous. Where did you get that 8,000 from? You just plucked that out your backside. Get out of here. You just said that only 8,000 people tickets were sold. So you telling me they gave free tickets away to 8,000 people from the UK? You can't have it that way. That's what I would have done. That's how I saw it. But you were like, no. Okay, so say that's true. What is that, 9-5? So you got 9-5 and 8? Okay, so if you had 9-5, that means most of the people came to see Deontay Wilder. How could you say Tyson Fury sold the fight? Taking your numbers as being true, which they're not, you still argue against yourself because you say more people came to see Deontay Wilder than came to see Tyson Fury. I love that shit because that's arguing in the alternatives. So what you could do is you could take 3 different arguments, right? Because a lot of people don't get that. When you're really debating, you can argue in alternatives. You can hit them with, okay, first of all, I'm going to argue with you based on your facts, right? And say your facts affirmatively. You can't prove that that fact is true. But even if your facts are true, you're still screwed because of this. And even if you're not screwed because of this, you're screwed because of that. Dog, I like it, man. I'm sorry, man. I know that's getting a little funny because I've been telling people, dog, you can even, most of you bozos could be right, and you still not going to beat me in an argument. You could be right, and you still not going to beat me in an argument. And that's what Best Fight the Best did to this dude yesterday. And I was like, that's what I meant. When I'm telling you, bozos, that you couldn't beat me in an argument if I was wrong. I give you your shit and still beat you. Hey, dog, that was good, dog. I like that shit, dog. He said, yes, sir. It's easy to try to give them facts that I know are wrong, but I love using their BS against them, have them argue with themselves, dog. That shit is beautiful, dog. I'm trying to tell you, dog, that shit is beautiful. That is a technique. That is game recognized game, dog. And when you do that shit, I'm like, really? You're going to do them like that, dog? They know they lying. They know they lying. 8,000 people came to see Tyson. That's the first thing I thought. 8,000 people came to see Tyson Fury. First of all, you bozos said that there was only 8,000 tickets that got sold. When did these 8,000 people buy their damn tickets? Everybody from the UK bought their tickets a week in advance, but all of the 9,000 tickets were given away for free. So, oh, dog, anyway, man, I just want to tell you, dog, that shit is crazy, man. That was hilarious, dude. Honorable mentions to Blue Blood and Ego I like as well. Yeah, they be doing their things, dog. What are you talking about, dog? 7C was I'm subbed. I also watched his show last night. I love his approach. Yeah, man, it's just really good, man. Jay Good said what is this? Damn. I got to get off in a second because I'm running over time, dog. There's a clique of dummies lined up ready for the Best Fight the Best. BFTB is live notification like an assembly line, dog. Yeah, they them cuckolds, dog. Best Fight the Best got some cuckolds, dog. Logical cuckolds, okay? Just logical cuckolds. They like to come and get dominated, dog. Dog. Best Fight the Best be like that old man sitting up there, sitting in the middle of the park on the chess table like, dog, you here again? Put your money. Put your money in the cup. Okay. Your move. All right, you know you done fucked up, right? You know you fucked up. Okay? Don't do that shit. I know that you trying to do that 8 move checkmate, dog. Dog, you're going to lose, okay? Move the fucking piece back. Move the piece back, okay? Don't try that shit with me, okay? Because you're going to make this move next and that move next and then that move next, okay? If you're going to get your money in here, at least learn something, dog. My son be pulling that 7 move checkmate on cats all the time, dude. Boo, 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 boo. And then one day try this shit on me. I'll be like, nah, dog. I'm gonna disrupt that. Anyway, hey dog, them cats he got them intellectual cuckolds on weight, dog. Dog. It's be funny, dude. Hold on, let me make sure I ain't miss nothing else, man. I appreciate y'all coming by the chat, man. I'm subbing. I also watch. Yeah, these good shit, man. All right, man. Anyway, man. Yeah, like the movie Fresh, dog. You just be sitting there like, shit's not fun to me, dog. But I started doing a little more since Best Fight the Best did it, because I'm gonna get my game together. I'm gonna do that. All right, let me see how I can beat you in an unusual fashion. Let me act like I'm actually wrong and just twist these dudes and ball them up in a circle. Or maybe I'll just laugh them out of the gym. Or maybe, just different ways you can go about doing it, dog. Like, like you're just in a rookie league. They say, you'll see them moaning on their streets. You ain't lying, dog. Oh, dog. Does he have time? Does he have a time slot yet? We're trying to get those together, man. I'm actually a little bit behind on it, man. But Best Fight the Best can and I think, man, I don't know why World Breaker hadn't gone live the last couple days, man. But check out World Breaker. It dropped a really nice video, man. He ain't gone live in the last couple days, man. Subscribe to World Breaker Fighting. Please subscribe to World Breaker Fighting. I'm sure Kurt Sugar should be back on their show pretty soon. He said, yeah, exactly, Snacks be rub-a-dub. Them motherfuckers be playing rub-a-dub. Rope-a-dope. He liked four body counts last night. Yeah, this dudes be funny. I'm cool with the body counts, dog. I'm straight. But I love it, man. I love it when they do that, man. Anyway, I'm out. Much love in the super chats, everybody else. Check out my man, Best Fight the Best Boxing, World Breaker Fighting. They'll be coming on this afternoon, man. Find you an LDBC channel to subscribe to. And I'm out. Peace. Hold on. Oops. Let me do this because there might be I want to miss a super chat. I hate that. And I got a new system. But there you go. Got you. All right, y'all. With that, I'm out. Peace.